Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a video, but today I'm going to once again look at the date of 12/22/2021 for the start date of World War III. I'm going to go back and do a quick review of the past dates that I had predicted for World War III and just do a quick update on the events that happened on those dates. And this 12/22/2021 date, I'm looking at December, January, and February 2021, and to end of 2021 into early 2022, January, February. This date range is going to be my last effort. I'll have long did my last video before this date comes along, but I just want to show you the 12/22/2021. I'm going to do a few more videos after this one, showing you the timing of some things that I've been talking about, different alignments, and the only wiggle room that I'm going to use on this date, I'll show you that, kind of tell you how that works with a calendar shift. There's a 3/11 connection here to 12/22. But to start off here, I want to go back to these two slides and talk about the August 4th, 2020 war ritual. That was the Beirut, Lebanon ammonium nitrate explosion. And the second explosion, the big explosion, that happened at 1808 Eastern European summertime. And I'm going to show you how precise this ritual was. So these are two events that happened on August 4th at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. We had the Minuteman 3 ICBM test launch at 21 minutes after midnight Pacific Daylight Time. They did a test launch of an unarmed Minuteman 3 ICBM. And then that same day we had the ammonium nitrate explosion at 1808 Eastern European summertime. And I want to show you the relationship here when we look at the proper decoding of the time zones here. So we had our ICBM launch in Lompoc, California at 21 minutes after midnight on August 4th. Then we had our Beirut explosion at 1808. You can see there were 7 hours and 47 minutes between these two, between the ICBM test launch and the Beirut explosion. The test launch of the ICBM and then the explosion, 7 hours, 47 minutes apart. The address of Vandenberg Air Force Base is 747 Nebraska Avenue. And I'm going to be covering Capricorn again, but Nebraska, of course, is Cornhusker State. So we have our Capricorn, number 747. The area for Vandenberg Air Force Base is 22.12 square miles. 1222 can be written or expressed as 2212. Elevation of the base given as 369 feet. The 369 numbers, the key to the universe according to Tesla. And Vandenberg Air Force Base is a Space Force base. Remember, we had our Space Force established here recently. I've shown you some Space Force rituals. But looking at this date of 12/22/2021, August 4th to 12/22, 2021, 505 days. Our magic square of Mars is a 5x5 magic square. And if we subtract 404 days from 12/22/2021, that would be when Mars comes out of retrograde motion. I'll just show you that real quick. We'll find Mars. I'll just show you the date here. Mars comes out of retrograde motion on 11/13/2020. I'll just give you a visual here. (11/13) is where Mars comes out of retrograde motion and resumes its normal motion with this 11/13 date. (404 days for the 404 total verses in Revelation. Our 8/4 with our 505 days, our 7:47 for our 7 hours and 47 minutes between the ICBM launch and the Beirut explosion. I've got a few more slides. I'm going to do a whole video, another video just on the other aspects of this Beirut ritual. The national flag of Lebanon features the Lebanon cedar. The Lebanon cedar is referenced 77 times in the Bible. Just a nice, neat little war ritual here for the Minuteman 3 and the massive explosion in Beirut. Okay, I'm going to continue on here and just do a recap of these 4 dates quick before we move on. August 15th, 2017. The first date I showed that I predicted for World War III. This date was 831 weeks after 9/11. And 8/15, the date of 8/15 leaves 138 days in the year. So we had 831 and 138, a palindrome. And one of the events that happened on this date is that on August 15th, 2017, we had the Guam missile alert. And what's significant about that is that Guam features the Vesica Pisces, or the mandorla, on its flag, which is associated with the nuclear football. And I'll show you what else here is significant going on in the sky on August 15th, or in the middle of August. We're going to change to our heliocentric or sun-centered view here. And we're going to find Earth. And I've been showing the videos, connections with Deneb El-Gaddai, the Star of Sacrifice, the tail of the goat, and on August 15th, right around this time, Earth is passing by Deneb El-Gaddai, the tail of the goat, the Star of Sacrifice. I'll get to this in a second. But just another part of the ritual here with August 15, 2017. The Guam missile alert. Also, we had the Lincoln Memorial vandalized on 8/15. And that was 6 days before the Lincoln City landfall of the Great American Eclipse. And symbolically, on the 7th day after this date, the sun went dark with the eclipse. Lincoln Memorial vandalized, 7th day, the sun symbolically goes dark with the Great American Eclipse in Lincoln City. And our tail of the goat connection here on 8/15, Earth passing over the star of sacrifice. Our next date that I took a look at, my next date here, 12/18/2018. The first thing that sticks out about that is the date of 12/18. 1218 minutes is the time of 2018. So there's a time connection there, and most of these, or I should say all of these, usually have a time connection, a sun, a Saturn, and a time connection. Our time is based on the solar day, Saturn, the god of time, and the ruler of the golden age, when Saturn was said to be the sun. But something that's significant about this date, I'll show you on here again and get it set up quickly. On the date of 12/18 every year, the sun is in the Golden Gate on 12/18. And that's the background here I have in the picture, the galactic center, what we're told is the Milky Way, also known as the Great Rift. This is what I started using my backgrounds on my first videos that I did. This galactic center, this Great Rift. My channel is all about the Wormwood event. Great Rift in the sky is the source of the Wormwood event, the tear in the sky. It will involve the sun. Wormwood is related to the sun. And also with this date in this year, 2018, without the 0, we have the 218. Moon in Hebrew gematria sums to 218. And I had called 2018 the year of the moon. In 2018, there were 2 blue moons. We had a blue moon, which is the second full moon in a month. Blue moon on January 31st, and another blue moon on March 31st. So blue moons on the 1st and 3rd months of the year. The 1 and the 3 make the 13. World War III will be the 13th official war that the United States participate in. And I've talked about the date of January 31st, 2022 as being the end of World War III. So 12/22 to 1/31, and January 31st, 2022 is what is called a black moon, which is the second new moon in a month. So we had 2 blue moons, so 2 full moons that occur in a month. We had 2 of these, the 1st and 3rd months of 2018. I want to show you the next 2 black moons. There was a black moon in July of 2019, and then we don't get another black moon until January 31st, 2022. And what's kind of interesting about this is the full moon that precedes the black moon. We go from our last blue moon on 3/31/2018 to the full moon that precedes the black moon. It's 1,388 days, a number I've shown quite a bit. The Great Pyramid of Giza, without its capstone, is 138.8 meters tall. That's the origin of our 1388. The Trump Tower in Chicago is 1,388 feet tall. Another 1388 connection is the JFK assassination. From the JFK assassination to 9/11/2001, that was 13,808 days, another 1388. Going back to our pyramid reference, but just wanted to show that 1388 again, with 2018, which I call the year of the moon. The next day I showed was 12/31/2019, and this date was 955 weeks after 9/11. And the connection there with time is that the time of 9/11 plus 404 minutes for the 404 total verses in Revelation. 9/11 plus 404 minutes is 955 minutes into the day. And 12/31 was 955 weeks after 9/11. And if we go to the map here, I showed you guys this before. I'm not going to zoom in here, but from the Lincoln Memorial to McCormick Place in Chicago is 955 kilometers. The Lincoln connection to Chicago. The most significant date I think on here that I had predicted was 3/31/2020. This was the date of the Mars-Saturn conjunction, and I touched a little bit on this in relation to World War 4/6 and 12/8. These two dates are the dates that the United States entered World War I and World War II. But we're going to go back and look at the dates of 7/28 for World War I and 9/1, 1939 for World War II, and the connection to the Saturn-Mars conjunctions. We're going to do that in a later video, but March 31st, 2020, the most significant connection there was this Mars-Saturn conjunction, the god of war, the god of time coming together. There was a lot of stuff going on at the end of March and beginning of April in 2020. Mars-Saturn conjunction, the Venus-Pleiades conjunction. I'll show you that real quick here. The Venus-Pleiades conjunction is shown in Revelation chapter 1. (1:13). This verse right here describes Venus in the Pleiades, the 7 candlesticks. And that was on 4/3. What's kind of interesting about that is if you add I'll do that later for you guys. I'll talk about that later. If you add 22 months, one for each chapter, onto 4/3/2020, that gets you to 2/3/2022. So 1 month for each chapter of Revelation, beginning with chapter 1 with the Venus-Pleiades conjunction. And January 31st, 2022 is the last day of the ox year, and the beginning of the Chinese tiger year is on February 1st. But a very significant date, 3/31/2020. And we'll go back and do a specific video on the Mars-Saturn conjunctions for World War I, World War II. But that's why there were so many war rituals, because we had this going on, along with all these other alignments that have to do with Revelation, the pyramid, the X eclipse, all this stuff. Very tight-knit week here, foreshadowing and a ritual to Revelation. So this is the date, 12/22/2021, the alignment on this date. This is the heliocentric view, the sun-centered view of Capricorn. Capricorn is our transitional constellation. And on this date we have Saturn and Mercury in Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn. Mercury is associated with Capricorn. Mercury and Enki, the Babylonian god Enki, are both associated with Mercury and Capricorn. Enki was depicted with 1 foot on land and 1 foot on water. A transitional god, same as Mercury, can operate in both the physical and spiritual realms. And I've been talking about the date of 1/31 as the end of World War III. 1/31/2022, the transition from the ox year to the tiger year. But this is the sun-centered view. I've made two videos about how the coronavirus is a ritual to the sun. Everything is about the sun. The Wormwood star is the sun. So if you look at Capricorn here, this constellation Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And also in this, we have Mercury here. And Mercury is one of the associations to the Deneb Elgadai, the tail of the goat. Deneb Elgadai is the tail of the goat, one of the 15 Bohemian stars, one of the magical stars of medieval European and Arabic astrology. The tail of the goat associated with Saturn and Mercury. So we have Saturn and Mercury both in Capricorn. The 2 pillars of Capricorn. The head is Debi, the lucky star of the slaughterer. Deneb Elgadai, the star of sacrifice, our magical Bohemian star. We have the center of the goat here, which is Theta Capricorni. And the theta, the symbol for theta, is the circle with the X in it, which represents the ox. And the bottom foot here is Omega Capricorni. And I'll quick show you guys the overlay here. This is what it looks like when you overlay Capricorn over the United States. Elgadai sits over Seattle. Omega sits over Miami. And Theta sits over Chicago. Theta is the OX, the ox. The ox is a bovid. Ox is related to the bulls and the cows. That's why you have the Chicago Bulls. Elgadai is the star of sacrifice. Think about the singer Kurt Cobain. He was a Elgadai sacrifice. He was killed in Seattle, or he died in Seattle. We had Chris Cornell. He died in Detroit, but he was from Seattle. And I'm not going to show you right here, but the time of death for Chris Cornell was the exact same time Capricorn was breaking the horizon. Cornell for Capricorn. Another Elgadai sacrifice. And then we have Omega Capricorni. The first references to the Alpha and the Omega in Revelation are the 8th and 11th verses. Revelation 8:11 is the origin of our 3313, the 24th star number. Omega Capricorn sits over Miami, Miami has the 33130 area code. 33130 is one of the zip codes in Miami. So that's why Omega Capricorn sits over the tip of Florida. Could have probably lined this up a little better, but it's close enough here. Theta, Delta, Omega, and Beta. If we switch to the heliocentric view of Earth on the same date of 1222, you can see the location of Earth is at the foot of Gemini. I've talked about the kickoff of the nuclear football on 1222. We have Castor kicking the Earth on 1222. The kickoff date in the heliocentric view, our Earth, where Earth is every year on 1222. So here's the number 13 and the Chinese zodiac connection to the date of December 22nd, 2021. That day is 1 year and 331 days after the start of the rat year. 1331, 313 days after the beginning of the ox year. Another 13. 41 days before the start of the tiger year, the 13th prime, and exactly 13 months before the rabbit year, 1222-21, plus 13 months is 122-23, the beginning of the rabbit year. So all these 13 connections. Then our transition date, 131, end of ox year, to February 1st, beginning of the tiger year. Our transitional date, our transitional constellation. Also, in relation to 9/11, 2001, 12/15, 2021 begins the 1058th week after 9/11. Through the winter solstice, 1058 weeks. 158th prime, without that zero, we have the 158th. 158th prime is 929. I've shown you the 929 nuclear code. The 929th chapter of the Bible is Malachi 4, that references the winged sun. Also references calves, which is another bovid, another Chinese ox reference. The 929 is our transitional from the Old to the New Testament, 929th chapter. Wormwood. All of these are associated with the sun. Revelation 8:11, 141st verse of Revelation. The volume of the sun is 1.41 times 10 to the 18th cubic kilometers, just a reverse of this number. But here's our 13 in our Chinese zodiac. This is where the ox would overlay onto the constellation Capricorn. And this is where we had our Saturn-Mars conjunction in the ox on March 31st, 2020. The 3313 that's associated with Revelation 6:12, Revelation 9:11, and our verses with 8:11, 6:12, the great earthquake, 33 verses to 8:11, 13 more to 9:11, earthquake, fire, 24th star number, 3313, also the 15th star prime, 15th letter O, 24th letter X for our ox. The ox here. The German connection to World War I and World War II. We declared war on Germany on April 6, 1970, and then again on December 11th, 1941. That was a total span of 1,288 weeks. And if we go from the founding of the United States to December 22nd, 21, it's 12,808 weeks, another 1,288. If we add 80 years, 11 days, like our 8/11, we add that to the last declaration of war on Germany. It gets us to 12/22/21 again. The magic square of Mars sums to 325. We're in the 32nd Venus pentagram since the Revelation 12 sign, and this 32nd pentagram started on March 25th, 2017. March 25th is a 325. And even if we read it the other way, 253, 253 is the 22nd triangular number. Another 22. Something that's kind of interesting with dates here. We go from the beginning of the pentagram on 3/25/2017 to Groundhog Day 2022, 2/2/2022. It's a 1,776 day span. And like I said before, I use this galactic center, the Milky Way, as an background on a lot of my earlier vids because of the connection to Wormwood and Revelation. Revelation 6:14, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. This is the tear in the sky when Revelation begins. This is a comment I left on someone's video several years ago here, referring to this great rift. The next time this thing opens up, they're going to sell it as World War III nukes. This destroyer is the reason for the nuke weapon hoax. It's going to mimic what we've been taught about nuclear devastation. Here's another part from the Bible here. This verse, I'm not sure where it's from. It actually occurs in a couple places in the Bible here, but it was about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. While the sun's light failed and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. The great rift is the curtain of the temple. And during that time period, 1222, in that time frame, that's when the sun is passing over the galactic center. And just to show you guys the wiggle room that I was talking about for these dates and the association with 311, this date of 12/22/2021, it's 311 on the Darian calendar. 311 is the calendar, or the Darian calendar is the calendar of Mars. 12/22/21 is 311 on the Mars calendar. (1/31/2022), the last day of the ox year. We could also express that as 31/1 or another 311. So it's possible that we have a calendar shift to this date as the beginning. Even 13 days later on the Julian calendar. 12/22 on the Julian calendar, which would be January 4th, 22. (2/23/2022). February 23rd, 2022 is 12/22 on the Hebrew calendar. And they'll have a 311 connection because 2/23 leaves 311 days in the year. 12/22, 311 Mars, 2/23 leaves 311 days. It's 12/22 on the Hebrew calendar. You could be looking at the Julian calendar, 12/22 on the Julian calendar, or the last day of the ox year, 131, all associated with the 311. That's the only wiggle room or calendar shift that I'm willing to entertain and show you guys. If these dates come and go without anything happening, like I said before, this will be my last effort showing you guys what the start date of World War III is. But I think the real key here, when I show you guys the Mars-Saturn conjunction. On the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you more about what Wormwood is. Wormwood is an anti-parasite, antiviral. That would be the classical use for wormwood. I'm going to talk about the relationship between astrology and the archons, and the relationship between the archons and wormwood. There's a direct relationship there. The archons. Talk about this verse in relation to the archons, Ephesians 6:12. I'm going to do a recap on this June 3rd, 2020 date, one of the Venus pentagram points. Let's do a quick recap on what happened that day in relation to the Golden Week after 9/11, what I call the Golden Week, or pentagram point. And then I'm finally going to do the timing of the movement of the planets Saturn and Mercury through Capricorn in our heliocentric view. I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about the constellation Capricorn and the constellation Globus Aerostaticus, the hot air balloon, the ritual there for those things, and how they relate to the movements of Saturn and Mercury through Capricorn on 12/22. I'll give you just showing you this hot air balloon should kind of give you a hint of what ritual that I'm looking at. Okay guys, Wormwood, the movement and the timing of Capricorn with Saturn and Mercury. I'm going to finish up the Beirut war rituals about Obama, President Obama's birthday, August 4th. Some pretty solid connections to Mercury, another Mercury ritual with Barack Obama. Okay guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.